Welcome back to MedNation, where we delve into all things medicine, wellness, and personal growth. I'm your host, Dr. Yerusalem Lanier, and today we have a truly special guest, Kevin Surace. Did I say that right?
You did, Surace. That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Kevin is a serial entrepreneur, innovator, and speaker known for his groundbreaking work in technology and sustainability. He's also a big advocate for the power of joy in driving success. Welcome, Kevin.
I'm happy to be here. How are you today?
I am great. I'm excited to have you here. So, Kevin, tell me a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I've been a technologist most of my life. I spent half my work is technology, and the other half is the Broadway and film work. Interestingly enough, so I do have a little bit of left brain, right brain, but this whole really concept of joy equals success really came out of years of people asking me, how do you have 94 global patents? What drove you to solve those issues? What drove you to even do that kind of work? How do you even get up in the morning and do this? And the more I really thought about my own personal journey, it was all about seeing joy in every single moment. And I mean every single moment. And I'm going to give your listeners some ideas about that and how to do that. And it's not foo-foo joy. It's not just, oh, I'm happy all the time. And no, it's actually a way of life where you say, I cannot be as successful as I want to be if all I do is see negatives and complaints and problems in front of me. Because you can't, because it's eating all your energy. And so it's a different way to think about every minute, every second of life, and actually drive that joy in everything you do.
Oh, I love that. And I love, in theory, that's exactly what I want to be. As a can you do it, in a day-to-day life? You said seeing joy in every single moment, but how can you see joy when you have a difficult situation, right?
Well, that's what everyone asks. But let me flip it around on you for a second. You get up in the morning, and from the moment you get up to the moment you go to bed, I want you to count the number of times that you are either complaining internally or externally. So I'll give you an example. You get up out of bed, you go, oh, geez, my neck hurts this morning. Okay, complaint one. Oh, look, it's raining today. Boy, that sucks. Okay, complaint two. Then you pour yourself some cereal and you go, oh, this is sweeter than I thought. Complaint three. I'm just going to go through the day, right? And at the end of the day, I can tell you that the average person in the US anyway is going to have over 100 internal or external complaints. Some of them they shared, some of them they didn't share, some of them were internal. Oh, I've got this hard thing to do. I've got this hard case to do. I've got this hard patient to deal with. I've got this real problem that's going to be hard to solve. I could lose some, all of these things, right? It's all how you look at it. And you're going to have over 100 of those by the end of the day. Every time you have that is a joy killer. Now, if you have 100 joy killers during the day, how will you ever meet the peak of your success? You can't. You're spending all your energy just trying to, fill in all those joy killers that happen every single day, all day, every minute of the day. So, yeah. How many internal or external? Internal or external, right? That means complaints do you think you have in a day?
That's really, really a good question. When I think about it, so when you were saying those things, we humans in general, this is not even something we think about that we're doing. This is just a natural thing. You wake up, during you're doing your day and you're doing those things. You don't even know that you're complaining, right? So when I first wake up in the morning, I always think of like my coffee. And I usually don't complain about my coffee because I'm excited to wake up because I'm going to have coffee. But I can't tell you. I'm sure I have many of these complaints that I do during the day. But now that you mentioned that, I'm going to pay attention to it, right?
You're going to count them. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to count the number of internal and external complaints. And by the way, the more you complain externally, the less people actually want to hear it. Right. So that's another thing. It's like you're also not building friendships by complaining. You build friendships by not complaining. You build friendships by finding the joy in everything, because people want to be around people who are joyful, who find joy in everything that they're going to do. Right. And they don't really want to be around people who complain all the time. Oh, boy, this isn't exactly right today. Let me share that with you. Okay, well, they'll listen, but by the 10th time, they don't really want to listen to you. They find other things to do, right? It's
Yeah.
true at work, it's true in life. And the funny thing is humans naturally by themselves, their brains gravitate to find the problems, to find negatives, sort of, and to somewhat dwell on those negatives. So I'm suggesting to you there's a new way of life. And the way of
No.
life, if you want to maximize your accomplishments, is to start counting your complaints, find out how many you have. And I'm going to say internal, external, it's over 100 every day. And then your goal is to make it one and never more than one per day. So if you got up and you go, oh, I'm out of coffee today. Oh, that sucks. You're done for the day. Whatever the case is, right? Now you start to be careful about using up your complaints because you're allotted only one. And since you can only have one, you start thinking all day, I can't use it on this. I have to find joy in this, right? I have to because I'm
Love
only
that.
allowed to have one.
I
And
love that.
and so look in your business, clearly, people get up and go, "Oh, my foot hurts," right? I mean, this is probably what you hear a lot of.
Yeah.
Uh, and I get that. And noting that for a medical professional is one thing. But dwelling on it when you can't do anything about it, and your business better than I do, there's a lot of these things that save a steroid shot or something. It's like we don't have any reason that it hurts, but I'm sorry it does. Or there's some there's some kind of latent thing going on, but you can't really treat it. And so you just can't dwell on it every day. Got it? We've noted it hurts. The human experience includes body parts that hurt. It just
Yeah.
does.
That's true.
It's how humans are built. We're not perfect. And so you just can't dwell on it. You just have to move forward, right? There's no choice. And so even in a hurting foot, medical situation aside, right? I really want people to say, okay, yep, I've noted that it hurts. I don't need to tell myself or anyone else ever again, probably, that it hurts, except my doctor, because now I need to learn how to live my life in a joyful way and ignore that darn thing. I have to. I have no choice. It's going to hurt
Yeah.
every day. Nobody can fix it. And so let's move on. Or you get into that joy killer that becomes so tough that your own patient is essentially immobilized. And I'm not talking immobilized because the foot's broken or something. I'm not talking about immobilized from some pain. And you can't get there. You have to go, I have to move forward. I have to build my life with the pieces and parts that were given to me, right? I can't change them. This is what was given to me. So I think that's a good example. We don't want these joy killers, and we want to overcome the fear and the stress and the burnout. Now, you brought up something earlier, which was, oh, I got to face this really hard thing today. So, example, we all have to face situations at work where if we're a manager or a supervisor or a director or whatever, we might have to terminate someone. We might even like them and we have to fire them, right? We have to let them go because they're a layoff or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you can look at that as an awful, awful thing that's going to eat your heart out all day, just eat your stomach and eat your feet or whatever. And but let me give you an alternative even to that very difficult situation. You can say, when you wake up, what am I doing? What's my list of things I'm going to do today? And I'm big on making lists. And I make it the night before or I make it that morning and I say, wow, here's all the things I get to do today. And some of these are going to be harder than others, but I don't care. I'm going to find joy in each of them. So what is the joy in letting someone go? Well, we know that it's hard, but there is actually joy. One, your organization is probably going to work more efficiently. That's why you've decided to make this change. Number two, they are going to be relieved to go find a job that's probably a better fit for them because not every job is a great fit for everyone. It's just the way it works. Or it's not a great fit with this current leadership, or it's not a great fit with your leadership style, whatever it is, right? And that's okay. It's okay. And so we want to give them some joy in the midst of some terrible news that actually your career will go forward. You will work somewhere else. It's not the end of life, that jobs come and go. And that this is really a great thing for them in their life. And they're going to be much happier in a different role. And lastly, you just check something off your list. And that is the most joyful thing you can do all day. So even in that really tough situation, you can make joy out of that and be incredibly happy. And then you start to get into this, really what we call the joy success cycle. So I've now checked that thing off my list. I've done it. They've left. That is a part of success for that day. And now I have more joy even because I have the success from checking that off my list, and I can go on to the next thing on my list.
I mean, I'm loving all of this. I'm taking a lot of notes because this is what we need in day-to-day life. But I have a question for you. If you have to complain, is it better to complain externally or internally?
It's better to complain not at all.
If you have to choose.
What? See, you eventually get to the point where you go, no other person wants to hear my complaint. Again, doctor aside, right? Because I know we're on a show and, the medical show, right? So doctor aside, where there's a time to say, let me give you the facts around what I'm feeling, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, what hurts, whatever. And those are more factual. I don't look at those as a complaint. I'm talking to my doctor, right? Here are the facts, and you need to know the facts, sharing the facts. Other than that, unless someone can do something about it, does anyone actually want to hear it? With all due respect, right? So let's say I have a foot that hurts. I should note that to someone in my family once. After that, if you say it every day, they can't fix it. They can't fix it. They can't help you. All you can do is make them feel bad for you. And after a while, how much can they feel bad and how much can they change? And they can't fix your foot. And they're like, nothing can happen from this. Nothing good happens from it. And if you complain internally, what are you doing? You're sucking so much of your energy, the positive energy you could have used to move forward that day and do some really game-changing work that day, maybe, or really sit down and work on your finances or whatever it is, or really spend time with your family. Instead, what have you done? You've put negative energy even inside, and you've sucked that all out of your brain. All the positive stuff is now gone, and you're now into a joy killer, bad cycle, right? A cycle that is deleteriously taking you downward. Why would you do that? Why do I want to spend? And so once you realize that even a complaint internally will do that, you stop complaining to yourself internally, because it takes more away. It kind of takes more energy to fix it than it was worth complaining about. There's nothing, hardly anything's worth complaining about. I mean, house on fire, maybe call the fire department, right? That's you get to complain a bit, but most things, when you look at it, will take so much energy to then dig you out of the hole you dug yourself. You don't have unlimited energy. Why would you want to spend your energy on that? Where, let's say you're at a level 8. I'm just picking a level, right? Whatever, right, level 8.
Right.
And then you start complaining internally about 3 things that are really bothering you today. All of a sudden you're at 3. Now you're going to spend most of the rest of the day getting back to 8. Had you left yourself at 8, not had those internal complaints, and really focused on joy taking you forward throughout the day and what positive things you can do that day, you go from an 8 to a 10. And I only had to make 2 steps instead of 5 steps backwards. And now I got to make 5 steps forward to just get where I was when I woke up. Don't bother. Don't complain.
And I think it's like retraining oneself, if for used to just complaining about hardships or challenges, then you just have to retrain yourself.
Yes.
How to not do that.
Once you recognize that joy equals success and complaints don't equal anything, then you say, well, I'd like to be successful. And I don't mean just monetarily. It could be the way you treat patients. It could be with your family. It could be monetarily. It could be on a vacation. It doesn't matter, right? However you define success in your life this month or this year, right? However you define success in your life. And for me, maybe that's going and solving a really big technology problem. I invented the virtual assistant. I'm very much known for that. And that was solving a real problem. But if I had a million complaints about me, my team, things that hurt, whatever, my food, whatever, I would have never been able to think with an open mind about how one could solve the problem of driving in a car and not being able to get your email, for example, right? Until there was voice. So I think it is retraining, but once you've trained yourself that I have to have joy literally every minute of the day, even during the hard things, I'm going to find a joyful piece of that, right? And that's how I'm going to be more successful, because now I can drive myself to that 10 instead of driving myself down to the 3 and wasting the wonderful energy we've been given for that day. I never
Right.
complain when I wake up because the alternative to waking up was death. And as long as I think it's good to be alive, I think it's, what a miracle. I woke up and I'm still alive. Life is great, right?
Yeah.
Raining,
No,
not
no,
raining,
it's
cold.
great.
Yes. And
Yeah.
and so you're starting at a 10. You're starting right there at a 10. And you go, wow, I can't wait to have breakfast. And I'm going to have tea. And I'm going to see my lovely wife. And we're going to have a great conversation. And you go, wow, I'm at a 10. I'm there's nothing higher than a 10. And I'm trying to get to an 11. Everything's great. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that again in a completely blind manner, right? I'm saying that because I've realized that I don't want to spend my energy on things that are going to take me further away from success. I want to spend my energy on the things that drive towards what I want to achieve over the next, again, week, month, year.
Well, so now thinking about it, I'm thinking about my complaints today so far. And I have internally been complaining about the meeting that I'm going to have tomorrow, how the meeting is going to go, too stressed about it. So if you were in my position to change how I look into it, what would you do?
Well, I don't know what the meeting's about, but it's going to be a tough meeting, and it's probably a meeting with clients, or it's a meeting with employees or something, right?
With the
And
hospital, yeah.
yeah. So look, here's my thing. You have to get through that meeting in a positive way for you to move forward in wherever you're going with your career and your business, and right. I mean, that's
Right.
that's the truth, right? You got to get through it. So the more joy you bring to the recognition of, hey, having a great positive meeting is going to be positive for me, it's going to be positive for them, it's going to be positive for everyone, the better attitude you're bringing to the entire thing in the first place. So it's not that it's not hard. Hard things in life can still be joyful, right? There's very
Right.
hard. Look at the people who exercise so hard, and you go, how do they ever do that? And they say, I get great joy from this. And you go, what?
How do you get joy from like sweating?
Right, right. I mean, you just ran 18 miles. What's joyful in it? So everybody's, someone's joy might not be someone else's joy. But I want you to look at that meeting and say, you know what? A couple of things. One, getting through the meeting is just going to be a checklist, a check off my list, right? And a
Yeah.
check off the list is the most joyful thing in the world. So isn't it exciting that you're going to get that thing off your list? It's exciting. I mean, it's actually exciting, regardless of what happens in there, regardless of how it goes. It's off the list. I'm done with that meeting anyway. Maybe there's follow on meetings, right? And look, I want to go in and be my most authentic but joyful self I can be, because when you are, people want to come to your side,
Yeah.
right? They want to be at your side, and they want to find a way to do something. And when you go in and you go, I've been thinking about this and I'm really frustrated and I'm sorry I even have to have this meeting and this really sucks and we're not on the same page. And that's going to be a long, drawn out, painful meeting that no one is going to get any joy from. So I think the more that you can approach it as this joyful thing to enter, to bring your best self, and to get to the other side, regardless of how it ends, the better off everyone's going to be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like it. I'll probably practice that. So, how does joy manifest to your physical health? So,
No,
does it go ahead?
no, yes, it does. So, so you know how they say you are what you eat, but
Yeah.
you are what you think. And if all day you think that, your life sucks and things hurt and I hate these meetings and I hate my job and there is no pathway to success from there, is there?
No.
And there's no pathway to feeling good physically or mentally. I mean, you're sucking the energy out of everything you could possibly do that's good for your body, everything you could possibly do that's good for your mind, and you're generating all this anxiety, and anxiety starts to light up parts of the brain that help us disconnect from our frontal lobe, right? And when you disconnect from your frontal lobe, really things go badly.
Yeah.
That's now you're in fight or flight rather than being thoughtful as a human.
Yeah, that's the cortisol level. When you have that high, when you have increased anxiety or stress level, your cortisol level goes high.
That's
That's
right.
yeah.
And that's when you start saying things to, say, your spouse or a coworker that you wish 2 days later you had never said, but you can't take it back. And so, and
Yeah.
that's because we've disconnected from your frontal lobe that keeps us thinking appropriately, right? So humans have this frontal lobe, which is fabulous, right? And it's that most developed part of the brain that says, okay, I know that when you were a cave person, you needed to fight or flight. I get that, but now we're going to control all those thoughts until you goof it all up and you can't control it, right? And you
Right.
got all of this stuff going on in there that's bad. So instead, what's great about joy is joy generates dopamine. And when we have dopamine, we're in this state where we can think and we can strategize and we can be open about our thoughts. I mean, it's really interesting what happens in the brain. And when we're all negative, we don't get that dopamine. We get all kinds of other bad things happening in the brain. And then that affects us physically because now we don't want to exercise. We don't want to get up. We become the couch potato. We turn on the TV to just numb our brain. And we did it to ourselves, right? No one can bring you joy but you.
Yeah.
Because,
And
yeah, at every moment, you get to choose joy or not joy, right? Joy or complaint. And so I like to look at complaints as the opposite of joy.
yeah.
And so don't do them. They're not helping you. They're
Don't
not
do them.
helping you. They're
Stop
not
doing
helping
them.
anyone. Yeah, they're not
Yeah,
helping anyone. Don't
that's
do it,
true.
right?
No, I like dopamine. I like the happy hormone for sure. You can get that from joy. You can also get that from exercising. That's what people are addicted to exercising.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets it from exercise, but some people get a dopamine rush from exercise. Great. Then exercise brings you joy. Do more of that. But I also don't want you to, then be done with your exercise and go, oh, now I've got to go back to the grind. Okay,
That's
well then,
true.
you your dopamine is gone. You just flushed it down the toilet, right? You can't get that back. So
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 do
so
you usually get a like dopamine, every a flash of dopamine, or like a every time you feel joy? Is that what it is?
well, most humans, when you recognize that something has joy and provides joy to you, will get a little dopamine burst, right? And it could be little, it could be big. It may not be the same as you running 18 miles, but it's very, very different than when you're complaining about things because that's just taking whatever dopamine was there and absorbing it and it's gone, right? And so
Yeah.
you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So I think, this what I can recommend is start to identify your sources of joy and then begin to recognize that everything can be a source of joy if you let it. Everything can be a source of joy if you let it, including, meetings that you don't want to have. Because again, the joy there is I'm going to finally get this dumb thing off my list. This is great.
Yeah. No, I like
Most,
it. I
yeah,
like
most
it.
in the world.
So, and also, joy does decrease blood pressure. It improves sleep quality, improves diet, and then, it maintains a healthy weight, which we all need, right? So, yes,
That's right. And complaining doesn't do any of those. It does the opposite.
does the
It
opposite.
either makes you eat too much or eat not at all, right? It screws up everything that you do. The more you complain, the more you ruin your physical life and your mental life. So like job one is, take on this sort of joy goal of I am not going to have more than one complaint a day. I'm going to work myself towards one. And when I get to my one, I realize that was it for the day. I'm not allowed anymore. I've hit my limit. And so I must look at every single thing the rest of my day with an aspect of joy to it. What would be joyful about doing this big contract I got to fill out? What again, the most joyful thing is just finishing another task on the list. I didn't say every task is fun. I just said we're going to find some joy in finishing the task. So do it, finish it, and go, this is a huge dopamine rush. I checked this thing off my list. That's another great thing about making lists. When you make a list and you check the things off as you do them, you go, wow, now I can see that I've really gotten a lot done today. Check mark, check mark, check mark, right? And it is a huge dopamine boost to you, a huge lift and a huge sense of joy by checking things off a list. It's amazing and it's so easy to do.
Yeah, no, I love lists. And also, you know why I do lists? Because I forget my things to do if I don't put them on a list. And then 2 weeks
That's right.
later, I am behind and I have a deadline. So, healthcare professionals often face burnouts due to high stress and long hours. We work all the time. How can we incorporate joy into our daily routines to combat burnout?
Well, look, I'll just give you two things. So, because I've spent a lot of time in AI and I speak a lot on AI, the first thing I'll tell you is that even now you can use AI to take patient notes, for example, summarize those notes and put them right into Epic and other systems, right? So, so first of all, start to use technology that lessens some of the burden of your day so that you can do what you do like. And so, hopefully, what you do like, or you shouldn't be in the business, is you like meeting with patients and eventually solving their problem. That's why you did this, right? You're helping people live a better life. And if you can do that and realize that's why you're here in the first place, and never forget that's actually why I'm here. I'm not here to do all these records. I'm not here to deal with Medicare and Medicaid. I'm not here to, those have to be done, but I need to find better technology to do that so I can focus on what I love doing, which is interacting with patients. I hope that that's the case. Anyway, that's how I would look at it. And then I build my day out of its joyful moment after joyful moment after joyful moment. They're long days, but I'm changing people's lives. And most people in the world can never change a person's life, or can change very few. You can change lives and you can save lives. That's an amazing gift.
And that's like an amazing dopamine booster. When you think about it that way, you're going and you're walking into a room thinking, I'm going to save that patient's feet today. He's going to,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. I do love what I do. And I think healthcare providers should definitely get into a specialty they love they love to do. Otherwise, you will burn out quickly.
That's right. But again, I say it's also a time where you can begin to leverage AI. So again, the AI that will record the patient meetings, summarize them, put them in the chart in the software these days for you is getting mature now. And so that is a, because no one wants to sit down at the end of the day and spend 2 hours trying to summarize all the notes you took. So stop taking notes. Let AI record that. Let it summarize it. Let it put it inside the notes for you, and then you're taking something out of your day that never brings anyone joy to do that, right? And so it's not what you signed up, to medical school to go do.
Well,
It's just,
AI can do that. I didn't know that.
oh yeah, and lots of doctors offices do this today. There's several systems that already do that. So
Wow, that's
you come in,
awesome.
you tell the patient you have an AI note taker. The AI literally takes the notes, takes them all day from different patients, and at the end of the day, will put them into your system in summary form. And you don't do any of it. It just you can review it and just check the box, but it's done it for you. Well, that's
That's
brilliant.
amazing. That's brilliant. That's the way to
And
do it.
so,
I hired somebody from Philippines to do that for me. So what she did was she will log in. She's on an iPad sitting next in my on one of the desk, and she will listen everything, and she'll just type it as myself and the patients are interacting.
yeah, but
Uh,
AI is really inexpensive, probably a tenth that cost, and
well,
very
it's
accurate.
that was not sustainable. So we had her for 6 months, and she couldn't do it. She has to leave, and then we have to train. I said I'm not training another one. So, but yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, you use AI, it works. And so in today's world, when we have AI systems like this, we can do so much more to leverage AI to to make our jobs really focused on the things that where we add value. You don't add any value, with all due respect, you don't add any value to taking notes and then summarizing them at the end of the day. You add value when you look at that patient, you look at the situation, you go, I've rarely seen this. I haven't seen it since school, but I think I know what it is. This is what we're going to do. And they go, oh, thank goodness I came to you, right? That's when you're adding your value. That's when you're changing people's lives. You're not changing anyone's lives by doing all the note taking at the end of the day and using up 2 hours a day. So if you use AI, I just gave you back 2 hours of your day.
I tell you, my joy gets sucked every time when I think how many notes I have to do.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right.
But
So
yeah,
I'm giving you joy back by leveraging AI and get that
thank
off
you.
your plate. And that should give you immense joy.
Thank you. No, I need it and I appreciate. I mean, we gave us tons of helpful pointers today, and I'm sure our listeners and myself have learned a lot. Give us a little background. Where do you live, and how did you get into, this whole joy manifestation?
Well, I've lived in Silicon Valley most of my adult life. Today, we live much of the time in the Northeast near Rochester, New York. And I'm a graduate of Rochester Institute of Technology. Again, I have 94 worldwide patents, and I've gotten to invent a lot throughout my life. And I also multitask. So I do have the art side. My most recent film is 1660 Vine. It just launched on Amazon Prime last week, and it's a musical, and it's about youth that are influencers on social media. So there's a great story there, and a lot of lessons around the dangers of social media, but also being authentic and finding one's authentic self. So I think anyone who likes a really modern musical is going to love 1660 Vine. It's doing great on Amazon, so I recommend that. So I get to do both of these things, and
That's awesome.
this all came out of people asking me, including one person I'll tell you about in a second. How are you so joyful all the time? How are you successful in all these things? How can you keep doing all these things in all these different fields? And it really came down to a way of life, a recognition that, I don't complain. It's actually uninteresting to me. And I realized that it was, sucking things out of me, right? Taking me backwards. But the person who got me to think the most about it is an actress named Goldie Hawn, and who you may know or know of. And Goldie just won a Lifetime Achievement Award here at the George Eastman Museum. And she's been a friend for 25 years. And probably 20 years ago, she said, Kevin, like, do you and I just have natural high dopamine all the time? Like, both of us are just, going forward with great joy no matter what happens. I said, yeah, the house is on fire. And I go, look, grab the marshmallows. We might as well roast some marshmallows because I can't fix the house. So I might as well get something out of this terrible thing, right? But it's true. I think that changes the way you think of your life. It changes the way you think of every day. It changes the way you think of every minute. It changes the way you think of your meetings and your patients and everything. Like, everything changes, and you control it. So it's
Yeah,
not a stupid thing to do. You control it, right? You control the outcome of every minute of your life. And if you want to waste that on complaints, just know that when you complained, you just wasted not only those minutes, but maybe the next hour to get you out of the hole that you just dug yourself. And after you realize that 4 or 5 times, you'll go, why am I even doing this? This is completely the wrong way to live, right?
that's amazing. Yeah, no, I feel like I'm in a retreat right now. Like I'm so relaxed and so hyped up. I want to go work more today. But do you do any retreats?
I do 50 keynotes a year. I do retreats. I'm working on a book because I actually don't have a book on this, but I've been working on the book. What happens is, as you're writing a book, you realize there's more to say, but I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it in more than 100 pages because I want someone to pick this up, and when they're off the airplane, they're done.
Mhm.
Nobody needs to read these 500-page tomes, because the problem is everyone's too busy and they look at 3, 4, 500 pages and they go, I'm never going to get through this thing. I'm not even going to pick it up. But
Yeah,
100 pages, anyone will pick up and read.
yeah.
And so I want to touch more people, and to do that, you got to fit all of these things into 100 pages. And I probably talked the better part of 100 pages just in the 35 minutes we've been on.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Kevin, before we wrap up, what practical advice would you give healthcare professionals who want to start prioritizing joy in their daily routine?
Well, one, go look up the AI that's available to take notes for doctors. Just start there, right? I mean, really, let's leverage the technology that takes some things off your plate, because we know that you're too busy. There's not enough people entering the field, and that's not going to change. It's not going to change because the birth rate in the U.S. went down for 30 years now. So we're not going to fix that, right? We can't. There's no instant fix for that. So more people are retiring than are coming into the workforce. So you have to lessen your load by leveraging technology and not be afraid to do that. That's the easiest thing. But the second thing is, don't forget why you did this. Don't forget why you did it. You're here because you care about patients. And the day you don't care about patients, you should find another career. With all due respect, right? Just that's fine. You go, actually, I hate this. Okay, that's fine. Then move on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's not indentured servitude. And for some people, it might turn out that it's very different than what they thought it was. Great, then find a different career. Really find something different to do. You're very capable. If you got through med school, you're amazing, right? You're smart, you're capable. But I would find the core of the joy that led you to this was treating patients. That's what you do and what you love to do. And so focus on the fact that every time you walk in that room, you're going to change someone's life for the better.
Yes.
Rarely for the worse, but for the better, no matter what. Even if you have to amputate, it's for the better. Well,
Yeah, that's so
hopefully
true.
you don't. But even if you had to amputate, you'd say, I'm doing this for the better, because the alternative is you'll die. It's gangrene, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I don't think you see
Absolutely.
too many of those, but you know what I mean.
No, I
Um,
do. I do see, because one of our clinics in Nashville is an urban clinic, and I see a lot of patients with diabetic that don't take care of their foot,
right.
and they
That's
end up
right.
with gangrene. So I do a lot of amputations, unfortunately.
Yep, and it's terrible, and you can warn them ahead of time, but if they got themselves there, rather than look at it and go, "Oh my goodness, you're going to be without a foot or part of your foot," you look at it another way that says, "I'm here to save your life today."
Yeah.
And we're going to ultimately put an artificial foot on, and we're going to do some other things, but we're going to take this thing off this afternoon, because the alternative is you die, and I want to save your life. And
Right.
so and you could say, I know you're not going to believe me, but I feel joy in saving your life. I wish it were different news, but my job won with you today. Collectively, both of us, we're going to save your life. And you're in it with me, and we're going to do it together.
Absolutely. So powerful. Thank you so much, Kevin. You're outstanding. I'm sure you know this. You're great. I mean, you gave us so much energy, and such great insights. And I really appreciate you sharing your time and your knowledge with us today.
Well, I'm happy to be on your show, and we look forward to making some of your listeners more joyful.
And then, can you tell us if patients wants, well, not patients, generally people want to reach to you or website? How do they
Yeah,
contact?
my website is my name, kevinsurace.com.
Okay, that's awesome. All right. Well, to our listeners, I hope you found today's episode both inspiring and practical. Remember, joy is a critical part of both success and well-being. So until next time, thank you so much.